Okay, ready? Could all rise for the Lord's Prayer? In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilor Ramirez.
Here.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Councilor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Donahue. Here. Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Mayor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Armand Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
9 present.
Okay, I'm going to make the opening comment about the budget. In accordance with budget laws, Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 32, and City of Lowell Council Rule 26A, a public hearing is being held. At said budget hearing, citizens and employees of the City of Lowell shall have the opportunity to speak for not more than 5 minutes at the commencement of this hearing and on any specific items therein. In addition, or in the alternative, citizens and employees shall have the opportunity to speak prior to consideration by the City Council of the particular portion of the budget concerning one or more of the various departments, but each person shall speak not more than 5 times and not more than 3 minutes each time. Individual speakers shall not be permitted to assign their allotted time to another individual. So we will open the budget hearing. Is there, Manager Cox?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, good afternoon, councilors, ladies and gentlemen. Before you on your desk this evening is a packet of the changes that the council made last week. All we did was put the affected pages along with the recap sheet, so that will show the cuts that were made. As far as the question last week about Chapter 70 and the conference committee report, I've spoken to people at the State House today, and there is no conference committee report at this point. And I mean, people have said possibly Thursday, Friday, but I really don't know. I don't think anybody knows exactly when that will be completed. So that's just an update for your consideration.
Councilor Ramirez?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I motion that we accept the manager's recommendation for the school department budget of $132,208, $136.
Okay. I was going to say, do we have an order of priority? We're going to have 3 departments left, so we'll start with the schools, I guess, if there's no objection to that. So the motion by Councilor Ramirez to accept the budget as proposed, seconded by Councilor Donahue. Discussion, Councilor Caulfield.
On the motion, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I called the State House also around 3 o'clock this afternoon, and they have no report to bring forward. There's still $2.6 million difference, and in all likelihood, that would probably turn into a $1.3 million deficit. And that $1.3 million deficit, if we adopt this budget, will go on the tax levy. I brought that out last Monday at the budget hearings, and I still stand strong on this. We're dealing with fictitious figures. We don't have any factual figures before us, and I will not support this budget because it's going to go right on the backs of the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone further? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I supported the delay and made the motion to see if we would have a little bit more time. And State House must be getting inundated with phone calls because I have called also. And I guess my concern is not only this year, and it's not that we're not for the schools. Clearly, I am, but I just don't know how we can absorb this $2.6 million that wasn't budgeted. Mr. Manager, wasn't your recommendation that the city level fund its budget for the schools this year in comparison to last year? Just city money, not Chapter 70 money.
No, Councilor. What I did was I took the recommendation of the school department, and as I said last week, that was based upon their numbers as to revenue as well as expenditures. So the Chapter 70 number as well as what their budget is. This budget does not level fund city money toward the school department this year. I think there's an increase. I think if you look at the school department budget from last year, the request from last year was 128 million. This year it's 132 million, 132.2. So the increase in the school department budget from 06 to 07 would be $4.2 million. The best case scenario for Chapter 70 money is an increase, I believe, of $3.3 million. So under this budget that I'm recommending, actually the city will be funding an additional $900,000 to the school side.
Okay. And that makes sense. But your presumption wasn't that we were going to fund 4.2. You thought that we were going to get, or we used the Senate number, and then the city was going to put in the additional 900,000. Oh, was your original plan that we were going to go with 4.2? Because I thought you made it clear at the outset of this that, look, it is going to be a tight year, and that, we're going to, the city doesn't have the money on this side this year naturally, and that we're going to, fund level or apparently somewhere $1 million over. That's what my concern is, and I agreed with you. But here we are, we're 2.6 million short, in addition to a lot of, I think on the city side, a lot of, open-ended costs, including free cash, snow and ice, and new growth. Presumably it'll be at $1 million. So what impact are we looking at on the tax rate when it comes to this? Because I think it'll be a significant increase, and I know that I spoke during the election time that, look, I think there's been a tax increase for the last couple of years, and I think, there was a strong message that, that we shouldn't be raising taxes in this year, and then that there's no appetite for it, and I completely agree. So I'd like to know, you had estimates on your cover letter about a $15 or $62, excuse me, based upon what is submitted here. What will that do? What does this do in addition to snow and ice and other items that are not factored in?
Let me first of all make my position on...
I know there are a lot of questions there. I should have broken it up.
Let me go back to the school department issue. What I said from the very beginning was that TJ, who's the city manager's representative on the bargaining committee, would support a 0% increase in salary. That's I've made that clear all along, and I believe TJ's held that position. Clearly, we have one vote on that team. So, as far as the school department budget, when it came over, rather than send the thing back or what have you, I adopted the superintendent's recommendation. Told her that I would, and looked at it, and made clear in my cover letter that this only covers a 1% increase for teachers or school employees. Beyond that, if the Chapter 70 money comes in as the superintendent is recommending that it will, and as I am, I suppose, recommending through her recommendation, then we would have a $1.8 million tax increase. Now, the council cut $300 and some odd thousand out of that last week, so that number would be down to 1.5 now. Beyond that, snow and ice is still out there. Issues related to the flood are still out there. Clearly, we have no idea what that will be, although we don't think it's going to be much. I think there'll be something at the end of the day. So that would be added on as it normally would be the case. If the Chapter 70 money comes in less than the Senate numbers, then that would be, in essence, added to any tax increase under this budget.
Okay. Well, I think that's where my concern is, and I'm open to compromise, but I still think there's a lot of open-ended questions that are going to impact us, financially, not only from this point on in the budget. And I know that both sides, the schools and the city, we're tightening our belt. I think we got to tighten it a little bit more. I think we probably, well, no one knows for sure. We know that we're not getting 2.6. Probably going to be, like Councilor Caulfield said, a 1.3, and where do we go from there? So I'd like to be reasonable and yet still be fair and, be fair to taxpayers. And by doing this, that just doesn't accomplish that. So I think we need to be, more conservative, and I would support a reduction in the bottom line and make the motion to go with the $1.3 million figure, and we still have to do some budget tightening. So I'd make that in the way of an amendment to
Can I just ask
a
one-
substitute. Excuse me.
Can I just ask a question? Was that 1.3 million reduction be where?
Well, we're looking at a 2.6. Well, from the bottom line of the schools, if there's a $2.6 million shortfall.
So we had a
Is it-
motion on the floor to approve the budget as presented.
Correct.
Your motion is to substitute
Right.
and reduce by $1,300,000.
1.3. Correct.
Okay. Councilor Donahue?
Thank you. We sat here last week looking at our budget, trying to make cuts, and I think everybody sincerely tried to do that, and we're only able to come up with $330,000 out of our budget. And yet, at the same time, we voted an increase, quite frankly, when we agreed to reduce the lease at the arena, which is not in the budget, and we know that's going to cost us another $250,000, $300,000 or more. That's not even covered. So and yet we only came up with $330,000 of cuts. And I think if we could have come up with more, we would have come up with more. I look at the school budget, and based on what information we've been given, $2 million were lost in federal grants. 1.7 million increase in, same increases we're facing. Health, electricity, gas, except they have special ed transport costs that are as well. So the problem I have is that it's not all as it appears. They're already down almost 4 million. I don't even know what other cuts. I'm just looking at the federal grants that are gone, but you still have the mandates and the increase of energy. And I think it is significant that there's only a 1% raise built into this budget. Now, good luck to you in negotiating, the contract, but how realistic that is or isn't is another matter. And so, but if the budget is the budget, that's all that's funded, and the school side's going to have to come up with it. Now, we all sit here, none of us have a crystal ball, so I don't know what's going to come out of the Senate or the state, the compromise, or what the number's going to be. We certainly hope for the best, but I don't know what it's going to be. But for a moment, I think we have to look at what are the needs, just like we did on our side. I mean, we looked at what are the needs, we looked at the budget, we weren't focused on what's our money coming from the state, what are they Senate numbers, are they House numbers, ours is a smaller swing, but still, we don't know what that is. It was like a few $100,000. If we come out less than we thought, then we got to fund it. And so, to an extent, you have to focus on what are the needs and look at it in the total context. So I can't support a $1.3 million cut on top of what is in excess of $4 million that have already been cut. I don't think I support the recommendation that was made because there are things like the raises aren't in there and so forth. And I don't think it would be fair or prudent to cut any more than we cut out of our budget. Having said that, I believe that, I'm not going to support a $1.3 million cut. If there's a cut, I don't think it should exceed, as I said, $300,000 or so that we cut. But I think we have to start working together. And so if the number comes in drastically less than what we're all sitting here wishing, hoping, and praying for, then I think we have to be grown-ups. And I think the school has to understand that we don't have the money. And so if it is that much less, then don't go blowing the money. We got to come back together, and we have to make up that shortfall one way or another. And I think the the discussion and the dialogue has to continue beyond tonight or once a year at budget time. That's part of the problem with this process, always has been. You know, the perception, sometimes actually the reality is that the school committee comes up with figures, then we have to pay the bill. And that's an inherent problem. You know, it's the system we have. So, you know, with all, and I certainly want to, you know, do everything we can, because I have voted against the increase in terms of, at the arena, voted against the garage because we don't know how we're paying for it. I mean, I understand that. But try as we might, we couldn't come up with that kind of a cut. And I don't think, you know, and then the other side of it is, based on what the superintendent's budget says, is over the past 5 years, they've eliminated 300 local and grant-funded positions. They've had pretty deep cuts already. So I won't support that. If you know, I will support the manager's recommendation. If that doesn't survive, we'll see where the motions go. But I think in fairness, I don't know why we're going to make them pay more than we are.
Thank you. Councilor Caulfield?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The crux of the problem, if the money was there, I wouldn't even flinch. I would move to support the budget, the school department budget. But the crux of the problem, Mr. Mayor, is the school department brought in the high-end figure from the Senate, not knowing if it was there or not, and presented us with a budget. And Mr. Manager, I agree with you, I would support it, but the money is not there. I want to point that out. In all conference committees, whether the Senate and the House sit down and debate a budget, they usually come out with a compromise. It's a $1.3 million difference. That's why I see it. I would ask Councilor Elliott if he could amend his motion. We cut $350,000 out of our budget. Amend the motion to cut $1 million off the bottom line and replenish that money if that Chapter 70 money comes forward. So we can debate this all night long. But the money is not there, and when the money is not there, we're going to transfer it onto the tax levy, and in November, there won't be one school committee member to hold my hand up and say, the tax increase. And that's what it's amounting to. And we go through this every single year. Since 2002, the school department budget has gone up $10 million. $10 million. And if this was an override, in Borica, Tingsboro, Dracut, Chelmsford, Tewksbury, the voters would vote against it. When is enough enough? The superintendent of schools brought us figures knowing only too well. Those figures aren't there. And that's the crux of the problem. And that's why I'm upset about it. They weren't upfront and honest with us.
Councilor Milonazo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I plan on supporting the city manager's recommendation of $132 million. I think the schools are very important to this community. I think that looking at what we did last week with the fire department, with the police department, the vocational school, we voted a 6.2% increase. That may be formula driven, but again, it was a 6.2% increase. The increase that we're looking at for the Lowell schools, I believe, represents about a 3.2% increase. The bottom line from last year's numbers, actuals versus this year's suggested budget, is about a 2.8% increase overall, and I think that's that's reasonable. So I'm planning to support the manager's recommendation of the $132 million. Thank you.
Councilor Armin Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the budget is anticipated 1% increase, salary increase for the teachers and the unions. If that number is not real, if during negotiations there's a compromise that's reached, and let's say that number reaches 2%, where would that extra percent come from? Because in this one, it's 1%. So would that mean that the school department would have an opportunity, or would be able to legally, to come back to the city council to offset that deficit? And that's a question I need to know. I mean, what would happen if all of a sudden that 1% doesn't stand?
Right. If I may, Mr. Mayor, as I understand, Council, as I pointed out in the introduction, that would create a deficit in the school department budget. The city council is allocating them, if they voted to support my recommendation tonight, 132 million. If they needed 133 million, for instance, or more, then within their own budget, they would either have to find new revenue.
Could they come back, I guess is my question.
I don't think so. I think their budget is what their budget, and I think they would have to cut within their budget on their side. And then I think that would have to come back and be approved maybe by the city council at some point later. But I mean, I think that's how it would work.
Well, to follow up on Councilor Caulfield's suggestion, if, for instance, the $1.3 million is reduced to $1 million with the understanding that if there's more coming from the state, we would reduce that further. That's coming back. That would be coming back, am I right? Is that, I guess my question is, can they come back to make amendments from us on their budget if indeed that happens? Right now, we're looking at $1.3 million. Let's assume that the conference committee, reduces that, to less than $1 million, and we've just cut, let's assume, $1 million. How do we get that to them?
Well, the council would have to vote that.
Okay,
I mean, it's got to...
So it doesn't end, really.
Well, but it ends as, there's no right to get additional funding. It lies in the discretion of the council.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, though. It doesn't end. If the council, based on what they're saying, had this extra money that they weren't anticipating from the state, it could then vote, to increase the school department budget by that amount. Am I right?
The council could vote that.
Okay.
Would not be required to vote it, however.
My other question is, when this budget was approved by the school committee, Mr. Mayor, I think you made the statement that if those numbers do not hold, that you may want to revisit this. Well, apparently the numbers aren't holding, or they don't appear to be holding. So you still feel that the school committee should revisit based on the numbers not holding, as a chair?
I would.
Okay.
And, but I can tell you, I don't support reducing this by $1.3 million or even $1 million. I'd support a cut similar to what we approved in cuts on the city side.
So your revisiting would be a lesser amount than what is being proposed tonight?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. First of all, there are very few times when I don't agree with you, and this happens to be one of those times that I don't agree with you to support the recommendation that you're presenting to us. And the reason I say that is because I remember back 4 years ago when I was the mayor, and we anticipated, let's say, a 2.5% increase, and I brought it forth to the city side budget hearings as the mayor, and we had slashed away left and right in anticipation of that particular 2.5% increase, and they're coming forward with a 1, and I'm not sure that, when you look at the negotiations, it's pretty tough. Having said that, I do agree that we should cut something, and I do believe, Mr. Manager, that you have taken different departments, I should say every department, and came before you and sat down privately, and you told them, you better slash and take X amount of dollars away, because if you don't, I'll do it. And I'm giving you the chance to do it. Is this true that you've done such a thing this year?
Yeah, we certainly have.
Okay, you
yes.
did that. So if I was the department head of DPW and I came before you with X amount of dollars, you would have told me to cut something before you see it, right? I know that. Because when you look at the Council on Aging budget, and it was, there's a difference of 31,000, being that they got 31,000 more, it's not level funded from last year. They wanted and needed another $50,000 on top of it, and you wouldn't give it. You wouldn't give it, and I understand that, and that's I shouldn't be biased, but that's one of my favorite departments where I would have probably supported an extra 50,000, but you beat me to that by slashing it, and I can't increase it, so I had to give them what you said was cut. Having said that, I divert my attention to the school committee, and I say to them, if they weren't here fighting for what they believed in, then they shouldn't be school committee people. So everyone that's here fighting for what they believe in, I agree with that. I certainly would. Having said that, I'm fighting as well, because there are people that I've come in contact with within the past week, and I thought that they would be talking about the weather, the rain, the this, the that. They were talking about their fixed income and how they really can't afford to have the taxes raised all that much more. So please help me. And as one old sage or senior sage said on the city council floor, and I hate to name names, but former Councilor Richard Howe said, if you're gonna help the taxpayer and you're gonna look at this stabilizing the budget, this is the only time you can do it down at budget time. So I'm taking that wise advice of former Councilor Howe, and I'm saying that I cannot support $132,000, although I wish I could. There's a lot of unknown there, and so I would be more or less leaning to what Councilor Caulfield said, in that we slash a portion of that budget with anticipation that they get something back and we give it to them. You know, I'm supporting that. I don't know if I can support the whole 1.3 million, but I mean, I'd compromise and say slash 600,000 from the bottom line. We're hearing 1.3, we're hearing 300,000. Let's go in the middle and say 600,000. So, I mean, I can't make the motion because you can't amend an amendment. So, be that as it may, if I vote no for the line item and the recommendation, I can't support that. I'm sorry.
Okay. So the motion on the floor, I believe, is Councilor Elliott's motion to reduce the school
Was it
department budget by $1.3 million.
Was it seconded? Okay.
Yes.
Was it seconded?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That was a substitute motion
Right.
of yours, Councilor Ramirez.
No, you can't.
Well, you can't.
But there was a substitute motion, so this is the vote to reduce the school department budget by $1.3 million. Anybody else wishing to be heard on that, Councilor?
Wasn't there an amendment offered?
That was, well,
It was a substitute, that's why.
Can't amend a substitute. Right?
Councilor Elliott.
Well, I just want to follow up, at least as a dialogue, and whether it's 1.3 or 600,000, I just think that, you know, we need to do what we need to do, and that's to reduce. Nobody wants to. I mean, I agree with Councilor Caulfield. Would I like to sit here and say yes? Yes, of course. Did I want to propose and support cuts last on the city side? No, I will say, I think it was a pretty lean budget, Mr. Manager, on the city side. But, you know, we went through it and we made some reductions. I just don't think you can have it both ways. I don't think that you can say, you know, I'm going to vote a $2.6 million tax increase on top of everything else and say, you know, I support the taxpayers. I'm concerned about it. You just, you know, you have to be consistent and say, yes, I'm going for it. And why we're using the Senate number, I have no idea. We never use Senate numbers because we know that the Senate usually is high. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but if you look at what has happened in the past, yes, the Senate comes in higher and the House comes in lower, and there is a compromise. So I'm for compromise, but by the same time, it doesn't mean that we're not pro-school. And I know school committee Jackie Doherty is very passionate, and I applaud her. That's her job. We unfortunately have the schools and public safety and fire and economic development, so many other areas that we have to look at. But I don't think we're bashing the schools. I don't think that's the case. If that were the case, we wouldn't have supported the schools with city money for the last 2 fiscal years when there were deep cuts in local aid, and the city did step up. I know since I've been sitting here, we've been, 4 or 5 years ago, we were at 97% of net school spending. 95, when you took over, Mr. Manager, and we have gradually increased that. And I think that's a show of support to the schools too. I think we're at 100%, or last year we were at 101 or 102. Whatever the number is, we clearly value education. We just have to do a balancing act, and unfortunately that means cutting on both sides. So if the 1.3 fails, that's understandable. Just trying to live up to my promise on what I think that we can do to help taxpayers from the people that I also heard from that just simply can't afford it. And I think that we can do more with less. We have to. Communities across the state are experiencing the same cuts, and I don't think that education is going to falter as a result of some cuts. We all know that there's room in every budget to make some cuts, and no one's trying to devastate the schools. We're just trying to be fair and reasonable and help people that can afford it. So I'll support the motion, but I'll look forward to more discussion too.
Motion to move the question.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Mayor, before you
There's
have
a
a roll
motion to
call,
move the question on the floor.
I just want to make it clear. I support the substitute motion with anticipation. Should the state come in with Chapter 70 money above and beyond what we're cutting, I would be the first to recommend that money go to the school department. That's where it should go.
Okay, roll call?
Counselor Ramirez? No. Counselor Broderick?
No.
Counselor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
No.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
No.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
No.
Motion fails, 4 yeas, 5 nays.
Motion fails. Counselor Donahue?
I would make a motion that we cut the bottom line by $330,000, the same amount we cut out of the city side.
Second by Counselor Ramirez. Any discussion on that motion? Counselor Broderick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's been other numbers thrown around, a few numbers this evening. We know the school's lost in grants of approximately, or been underfunded, $2 million. And obviously, it's a big hit. And you're a representative, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot for a minute, can the school, but I've seen the budget, but I didn't sit through the budget sessions. I even talked to people on it. I don't know the ins and outs, the inner workings of it. Can the school department take a $600,000 hit, as Councilor Rita Mercia had suggested?
Counselor, the school department will live with the budget that's funded. I think to say that it's going to be reduced $600,000 or $800,000 or $1 million without there being impacts to that, I think is just not true. I think certainly, there might be less positions funded. That means, class sizes in some classrooms. So it's not going to not have an impact. I've been through the school department process, budgeting, the same as we did here. And there were reductions. There were some things added, some trade-offs, if you will, some positions added to compensate for the loss of Title I and other positions. So I do think the school department takes their job seriously. They don't like to waste money either. And I think part of that is they've only budgeted 1% for salary increases because we think that there are other more important needs than that. So to say it's going to be reduced and without impact, I just think is not accurate. Could we live with it? Certainly have to, but
Right.
it would have an impact.
Yeah, so there will be a first day of school, it's just that we may lose some services. I'm looking at for instance, our police budget went from 21.2 to 22.2, and we cut $50,000 off. And to do the math forward on $130 million, that's about the equivalent of a $350,000 cut. I think that's probably the more reasonable approach. From where I sit, I understand that if the funding comes up short, it's going to fall on the city. But we've been stressing in the economic growth, public safety, education. Those are the two top concerns of people, and the taxes. Tax rate is much lower than what the state allows. Okay, I don't want to see a tax rate. Nobody wants to see the taxes go up. But I think that if we cut our schools short, we're going to have a problem there as we try to grow and promote the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Donahue?
I just have a quick question, Mr. Mayor. For each percent increase in the salary, is it approximately $1 million?
Yes.
All right, so if your contract is in excess of 1%, then the school department's going to have to come up with that, whatever that is over and above, out of your existing budget. That's the reason.
Correct.
And you are out of contract come next week, right? So, these are real concerns, and as I said, it's a tough year to negotiate contracts, but we on the city side just don't happen to be out of contract. Our employees are seeing a raise this year because it's the third year of the contract. So, That's the reason. I think if you make any more drastic cuts, you are looking at, impact. You've already looked at impact, and personally, as I said earlier, I wish you luck on a 1% increase. I just don't see it, so.
Thank you. Councilor Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to amend the motion and substitute that for a bottom line reduction of 600,000.
Second.
Okay. Substitute motion to reduce the budget by 600,000 by Councilor Rita Mercier, seconded by Councilor Caulfield.
Roll
Any
call.
discussion? Roll. Councilor Elliott.
I just think on the raises, we say we only cut X amount out of the city budget, and I think we could have cut more, and I propose those cuts that were not supported. But put that aside, this budget on the city side included a fully funded contract. I mean, when we say, well, 1%, I mean, again, nobody knows exactly what's going to be negotiated, and I don't know where the terms are, but is 1%, I mean, is the school department going to settle, the union's going to settle for 1%? No. They're going to say, well, wait a minute. What's the city side doing? What has the city side doing? So why is that not in the budget if it's already, that's just going to compound things. And what else can they do once this is approved? All they can do is cut. They can't come back unless it's proposed. I mean, I suppose they could come back. Anything is open until we set the tax rate, but you just got to make sure you put your ducks in a row before, we make this vote. And it's not going to be easy. But the city side has all of the raises funded in it. Then we started to make cuts. So I think that there are still some unanswered questions in this budget that are going to have a significant impact. And making these cuts, it's just important. I mean, we're looking, say it's a 3%. There's another $2 million that has to be added to this. So, just to do the simple math from where we are, what we have in the city side, what we have in the school side, you're looking at several $1 million. And that's not just a $62 increase on an annual basis. It's significantly more. So people should just know that before, we make these votes. Now's the time to do it. This is the time. Councilor Rita Mercier, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, he's right. Now's the time to do it. Not when we're going to set the tax rate in December. And that's what we hear in December. Well, we should have did it at budget time. Well, now is the budget time, in my opinion, and now is the time to make, and they're not easy votes. No one wants to sit here and make no votes against the schools because, we're seen as not supporting the schools. That's not true. There's it'd be 131 million. That's a pretty good budget to educate school children, so thank you.
Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was my understanding that if any raises are given out over the 1%, that the school department has to make that up, either by earnings or by cuts. So we're not looking at an additional, correct?
Yes.
That's my understanding, Counselor. If there are raises above the 1%, the school department has been given a number by the council. They would have to live within that number. So therefore, if it was $2 million more, they would have to cut theoretically $2 million out of their existing budget.
So whatever they do foreseeably at their own peril, or they own it. Whatever cuts they need to make, they have to make their budget meet.
I thought they had
Right?
$1 million.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want a point of personal privilege here before you have a roll call. Every council that I ever served with, every single one of them, are pro-education. Every single council that I served with for 19 years was there, constantly for education. Our low delegation, second to none in the state, second to none. We have built $250 million worth of schools. The taxpayers in the city have contributed $25 million towards that. Look at the schools we have in the city. Try to find all those schools in Brockton or Holyoke or Fall River. Try to find them, Mr. Mayor. Every single council that I served with supported those new schools. No, one councilor said no. And what we're deliberating here is a budget that's out of whack. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about anti-education. We're talking about a budget presented to us that's not real. And that's what has me upset. Our three state representatives, Nangle, Murphy, and Golden, have worked tirelessly for this city, whether it's funding UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community College, the Chapter 70 money, Chapter 90 money, the bridge over the Merrimack River, or the courthouse. It wasn't fair what was done to them last week. They are very hard-working public servants, and Senator Panagiotakis stands tall with them. That's all I have to say.
Councilor Donahue?
No, I was just going to move the question.
Okay.
What's the motion?
The motion on the floor is to reduce the school department budget by $600,000.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Councilor Ramirez?
No.
Councilor Broderick?
No.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
No.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
No.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
No.
Motion fails, 4 yeas.
Motion fails, 4 yeas, 5 nays.
The
Councilor
original,
Donahue,
I would move the action on the original motion.
Original motion, which was to reduce the school department budget by $330,000, seconded by Councilor Broderick. You want to second that? Okay. Roll call.
Councilor Ramirez?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
No.
8 yeas, 1 nay.
So the school department budget is reduced by $330,000. We need to vote the final amount now.
Yeah, 131, 878, 136.
You need roll call on that? So roll call on the final school department budget.
Councilor Ramirez?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Okay, there are 2 additional departments to take up. I believe the next one is the auditor. Is there any member of the public wishing to be heard on the auditor's budget? Anyone in the public wishing to be heard on the auditor's budget? Hearing none, what's the wish of the council?
Is he here?
He's here, yeah.
Move for approval? Welcome back.
Motion to approve by Councilor Caulfield. I believe the bottom line is $505,414. Seconded by Councilor Elliott. Councilor Elliott?
Thank you. I just had a question last week, Mr. Auditor. There's the line item, and I know it's small potatoes, but it's still $1,969. What is that for? It says retirement vacation owed.
That's for the early retirement people that took the buyout 5 years ago.
So how come that's not included, Mr. Auditor, in the treasurer's line item of,
Because it's a auditor's responsibility to pay the buyback sick leave. So that's we budget it that way.
okay, that would lead me to my next question, which was under the treasurer's, there was a line item for 900, and bear with me for a second, I'm sorry, 900 and, sorry about that, here we go. On page 52, there's a line item, employee benefits, early retirement expense, workforce reduction. Should that just be included with it?
No, that does not include with it.
Well, I thought the CFO or the treasurer told us last week that's that's what that was for. And I know it's just small money. It's still $1,900, almost $2,000. That. Well, what is the difference, I suppose, Mr. Auditor, between on page 52 line item 1 and this line item?
The line item in the auditor's office is the retirement vacation owed to the individual, which they took a fifth when they left. And then every year after that, we would pay them a fifth until the end of it. And our portion was $1,969 for those that retired.
Okay, so on page 52, do you see where I'm looking? Early retirement expense?
Yeah, that's the workforce reduction. I cannot answer that one. I don't know what that one is.
Well, shouldn't your line item be included in there, because that's for the balance of the employees, is that right, Mr. Kennedy? It is?
Yes.
Okay, so they're one and the same thing. I'm sure we have the obligation, I just didn't understand why they're separate, because there is no other line item in any other, in any other department. Just one other question, what, Mr. Auditor, data processing, special projects?
Special projects?
It
that
went
was-
down 10,000, which is a good thing, but what is it, what is it for?
Data processing is for enhancements that might process through the accounting system for the Munis side. Because anytime we want an enhancement with Munis, we have to pay for it. And last year, we had put the money, we used some of the money for the GASB 34 and some of the other programs that we needed. I feel that we don't need as much this year.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Councilor Broderick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two questions. The first is, you have in here a head clerk is highlighted?
What was that?
The head, you have a head clerk position that's highlighted?
That was just a, they typed it in as a highlighted, but she's still there working for us.
It's not a new hire, though?
No.
Okay.
She's been there 4 years.
And the second question is, where were you last week?
I was on vacation. I apologize if you didn't get the note, but I had told a couple of other people that I was going to be on vacation and away, and I did make a memo up, and I'm sorry that you didn't get it.
Okay, well, we didn't, and there was no one here in your representing you or your department, as some of the other departments that couldn't make it did. Thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Donahue?
Thank you. Mr. Auditor, not to be mean, but you weren't here in December when we were at a crunch time because you were on vacation. You weren't here at budget time. When did you send a memo? Because I didn't get a memo.
You didn't get it because I never got it in the box.
Okay. Well, when, if we had gotten it, when would we have gotten it?
You would have gotten it a couple of days before I went on vacation. It'd be during the week.
Okay.
Or when you get your Friday, whatever, your
Well,
Friday packet.
When you decide these things, I mean, you work for the council. Do you communicate with the mayor's office at all in terms of these issues?
I understand what you're trying to tell me. And the thing is that I apologize for not getting it to you in time or not getting it in the box for you, okay? That's my fault.
Well,
And I'll take the brunt of it. And the thing is that the vacation that I had, which I very seldom take a vacation for the city of Lowell, I've worked all the time. The thing is this vacation was set for a whole year in advance, and I had to go.
and Mr. Auditor, no one's begrudging you or saying you shouldn't take vacation. But this isn't the first time we've had this issue. And it is a concern because the budget we do once a year, it's important. I've sat through budget hearings where councilors have asked, what have they spent year to date in that particular department, so that they know whether the cut they're making is reasonable or not. The fact that you plan on going on vacation during the budget, that's, I suppose, your own decision, and I understand if it's a year in advance, but you had no one here from your department to answer questions either about your own budget or any other line items. You didn't even send an assistant. Now, that's not acceptable, and this isn't the first time. I mean, we have two critical times, when we set the tax rate and when we set a budget. I'm not going to belabor the point, but it smacks of disrespect to the council. I just want to say that.
Thank you. Councilor Armin Mercia?
First of all, I would like to suggest that the auditor does like the city clerk does. The city clerk is going to be around, vacation, holiday, whatever the case may be. He notifies the mayor's office, and the mayor distributes that memo to the rest of the councilors. So my strong suggestion is if the auditor is going on vacation or he's going to miss an important meeting, he should be notifying the mayor's office so that we can all get notified, instead of saying in a box. Should go to the mayor's office. When I was there, I used to get them from the city clerk and distribute it to the council, and that's the way it should be, Mr. Auditor. Then it's a suggestion I'm making to you that you should treat seriously.
Okay. Thank you. There is a motion, I think, on the floor to approve the auditor's budget as proposed.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Councilor Milonazo,
Is
sorry.
it just the 505,000, or is it the community development portion as well?
Separate vote, I think.
I think we have a separate vote for the
Thank you.
CDBG. So this is for 505-414. Roll call.
Councilor Ramirez?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas.
9 yeas. All right, motion, is there a motion to approve the grant-funded position in the auditor's office?
So moved.
By Councilor Arman Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Roll call, please.
Councilor Ramirez?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Okay, I believe the only remaining department in the budget is on page 26, under the manager's portion of the budget for cable access. Anyone from the public wishing to be heard on the cable access department's budget? Anyone from the public wishing to be heard on that portion of the budget? Hearing none, what's the wish of the council? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Hall, if you could
Hello,
come
Mr.
forward.
Hall. Can you tell me, there's a line item, contracted services, on page 26, midway through your budget. It went from 90,000 to 103.5. Can you tell me what that's for?
Each year, we contract with Lowell Telecommunications Corporation to cablecast all the municipal meetings, and this year, the council had requested that more meetings be cablecast, and that's the reason for, each year we have a contract with them, and I thought that with that amount of money, they wouldn't be coming back to the council to request more, that they'd simply be able to cablecast anything you wanted them to do. There'd be no problem at all. They had come back this year for additional funds, I believe.
Where does the money come? Is that a city-funded project? I noticed that there are two line items, and I've asked this question before, transferred to Lowell Schools, transferred to Lowell Voc, one for 95,050 and one for 12,800. Is that tax dollars that fund this budget of 257,269?
None of this are tax dollars. They're all from the subscribers.
Okay, but it still has to go through the city of Lowell for appropriation, so it's really city of Lowell dollars, correct?
Yes, it is.
There are some stipulations, Madam Solicitor. Is there, within the contract for the schools in the VOC, which I don't oppose, by the way, I'm just trying to get a handle on what our obligations are for LTC, and is it percentage driven, or is it, based on a fee from those receipts? I mean, how do we come up with this number?
Actually, I apologize. I don't know if Jack Hall can answer that question for you. This is something, it's been historically negotiated in the law department by Attorney Fenton, and I'm afraid I just don't know offhand, sitting here today, how that's driven. I don't know. Jack, could you answer that question?
If I may, Counselor, we get a series of checks from Comcast based upon our contract, based upon a number, I think it's some number of cents per subscriber that in our contract we agree to fund the schools and the LTC. So we get a series of checks from Comcast that we hand over directly to the school department or to the LTC. So it really it comes kind of through us, but it really doesn't come through us. We give them directly the actual check directly to the entity.
The Commonwealth says that we have to use the money for cable-related activities.
Okay, can we get a budget for what this comes from? I mean, from 90 to 103.5. What is it for? What does it go to? Does it have to go through salaries? I mean, if it says related, cable-related items, maybe the council would choose to put in cameras in the mayor's reception room rather than fund other things. So I'd like at least to get a copy of, the budget and what it's used for, Mr. Hall, because maybe the council would like to put it into another line item. And what is the expiration of that contract? Where are we at with LTC? Can the
I
council
don't-
also get that?
Yeah, sure. You
Okay.
can get that information, Jack. LTC's budget and where we're at with the cable.
Oh,
contract.
LTC's budget, sure, we could ask them for
Right.
it, yeah. I can tell you how much money they receive
But just-
from
Why
Comcast.
don't you just get those budgets
Oh,
for us?
okay,
you know,
yeah,
okay?
I can get it.
Can I ask the auditor, Mr. Auditor, you must have a copy of the contract. Is this in a special revenue fund?
I-
Yeah, the auditor, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, did he leave? Oh.
He's on vacation again.
I presume that the money is coming in for a specific purpose, so it has to be in a separate revenue fund. So, can we also, I guess I'll make the request to the auditor, what is left in that account? So between the contract, the budget, and I just think it's important for us to get a handle on it. And one last question, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, it's not relevant, but do you make all the appointments to LTC? I know we have a representative from the council.
I used to.
You used to? But it's the city manager that makes the
He
appointments.
can't make them anymore.
Yes.
Is it all the appointments, with the exception of the mayor appoints
I
somebody?
believe it's all the appointments, I believe.
Okay. Okay, Madam
I haven't
Solicitor,
appointed anybody.
you
I don't
haven't?
think the mayor has an appointment. No.
Okay. Okay, if can we get that information to Madam Solicitor, or maybe I'll file a motion for another meeting to get all this information to?
You want a copy of the contract?
I know the contract's quite lengthy, and, okay, maybe we should get a copy of the contract too.
We did send out, the law department had sent out fairly recently, it was about 4 months ago, a letter to LTC regarding some of the existing obligations under the contract in terms of the additional televising from the various rooms. So we can give you a summary of that as well.
Okay. Well, where we fund 103.5, I think it's good for, I'd like to get, more educated on the entire agreement and, organizational structure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Caulfield?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jack, it's not about your budget, but you do receive complaints about cable, TV bills, and so forth?
Do I receive the...
You receive complaints about people's cable TV bills and things of that nature?
Complaints.
Complaints.
Do you get any complaints?
Probably don't hear them.
You receive complaints
Yes,
about...
we receive, I'm sorry, my hearing is...
Okay, I'll speak a little louder.
Well, no, my hearing is bad. Yes, I do receive complaints about...
Is that number...
And I handle those, yes.
Is that number publicized so everyone would have that number to call?
It has been, it's been on, LTC publicizes it.
Okay, so that people have a complaint with their bill, they can
Yes.
call you and you can address it. Thank you.
Move approval.
Okay, motion to approve the cable access budget as presented by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Roll call, please.
Councilor Ramirez.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Okay, so do we have a total figure now on the overall budget?
Councilors, historically, what we have done is made the cuts, and then myself, the auditor, and the CFO would meet, go over those figures, make sure that we are accurate, and vote on a bottom line figure. We could probably do that at tomorrow night's meeting, although the total cuts were $659,000.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, it looks like the bottom line is $280,806,118.
Right.
okay. You want to vote that now?
It's fine.
Okay, motion to approve by Councilor Ramirez, seconded by Councilor Rita Mercia. Roll call, please.
Councilor Ramirez.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
9 yeas.
And Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Mercia?
we will have the bottom line figure tomorrow anyways in front of us, because I can't remember what the manager said.
Okay. It's the number he gave us tonight, less 300,000, right? 330, I'm sorry. Yeah. Councilor Donahue.
Motion to adjourn the budget hearing.
Okay. Motion to adjourn the budget hearing by Councilor Donahue, seconded by Councilor Ramirez. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
5-minute recess,
Meeting
please.
stands adjourned. And we'll stand in recess for 5 minutes, and then we'll begin the interview.